Hyde-Klitschko has been brewing into a war. There's really no love lost here. Billed as England versus Germany, even though the Ukrainian is only German-based. But England turned on itself on Thursday after Danny Williams claimed he had knocked the WBO champion cold in sparring.
Danny, if you want to go out with now, you want.
Vitali Klitschko looked a little bemused, but then he's getting used to this. Hyde had burst into the Ukrainians' press conference on Tuesday.
You're a refugee and you should never stand on top.
Wait!
You're through there.
You can't live there!
Wait! Enough that. I get letters from the Germans. They hate your guts.
By Friday, Klitschko definitely had the psychological advantage on the scales.
Vitali Klitschko, 17 stone, 7 3/4 pounds.
Hyde was 2 hours late weighing in, but by now, at last, seemed right.
Herbie Hyde, 15 stone, 11 pounds.
Herbie, this hasn't been the easiest week for you, but when you got onto the scales, you look very, very focused. What's going through your mind now?
Time to do the battle, time to war. I'm ready now.
What about your state of mind this week? Many people are questioning it. What's happened?
What do you mean? How do I look? Do I look good?
You look very good.
Thank you very much. Boxing is a fight. Boxing is a violent sport. So I've been training hard, and how I am is who they made me to be. I was a young kid brought into boxing, so naturally I'm aggressive, but they made me into aggressive fighter, and that's what I am.
Does that give you the edge then, you think?
Absolutely, because I'm like boiling. At the moment I'm like a bomb waiting to explode.
Just as well we got here in time then, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Barry, what about Hyde's personality in the build-up to this fight? Is this hype to try to sell out the arena here?
Well, I think there's two things to this. I think he's a complex, well, we know he's a complex, mixed up sort of a guy, but I think he's frightened, Paul. I think he's genuinely frightened. This is, as far as he's concerned, the most dangerous opponent since he fought Riddick Bowe. This is a dangerous opponent. He wants to perform. He wants to try and spook the German or the Russian, which he was unable to do. And he wants to get himself up for the fight. He wants to try to get himself up. And he is a mixed up, complicated sort of a guy. But I think he's ready. I think he's been better prepared for this than he has been for any of his fights recently.
Jim, maybe Hyde fans believe that a little too much has been lost in the build-up over the last few days. Throwing tables around, threatening everybody in sight. That's hardly focused professional preparation, is it?
Temperament is so important, and Herbie has never had the best of temperament. He sometimes wondered, does he want to box? I mean, twice he wins a version of the World Championship, and twice he takes a year out of the game, doesn't seem to want to defend it. If he's to defend it against Willie Fisher or Damon Reed, he's dead keen. He shows up. If it's Orlin Norris or anybody else who he thinks he can fight, he tends to call off. I mean, the WBO are threatening to strip him if he refused to carry through with this defence. So certainly serious problems. And I think Herbie also fights on his nerves as well as living on his nerves. So I wonder how he's going to be over a long fight.
We know already that this is the biggest, strongest man he's fought since Riddick Bowe, Herbie Hyde. Vitali Klitschko, giant Ukrainian, now based in Germany. And he's had his problems in the build-up to the fight as well, Barry, having to move hotels because 6'8" tall, there was no bed in the first hotel that was long enough to accommodate him. His feet were hanging out over Hyde Park for a couple of days.
That's the least of his problems, I'm sure. He's ready for this fight, but he's got a real fight on his hands. His impressive record, it looks tremendous, but I think if you inspect it very carefully, I don't think it's as impressive as it looks. He's up against a very, very dangerous and a very good opponent in Herbie Hyde. I think Herbie's in the prime of his life, and he is frightened, and I think he'll be better than ever because of that. Okay, well, I think we have the basis of a difference of opinion between the two of you here so far. Klitschko's career as a professional so far has been based in Germany. He and his brother, Vladimir Klitschko, moving from their base in the Ukraine to go to Germany to become professional boxers. But back home in the Ukraine, they have become enormous stars, and there is great public interest surrounding tonight's fight. This is the scene live in the central square in Kiev, where an estimated crowd of 200,000 people in the open air are watching a rock concert, waiting for the fight, which will be shown on giant squares. And they've created one or two little pieces of sporting history for their country, but if Klitschko can become the first major professional heavyweight champion from the Ukraine, then it will be yet another landmark for his country's emerging sporting reputation. That comes a little in waiting for Herbie Hyde for a long, long time, but he's in action next defending his WBO World Heavyweight title, and it's probably the toughest fight he's had in 3 or 4 years. Glenn McCrory sets out what might happen when the two men get into the ring behind me.
This is a close fight to call, and many think that Hyde's best chance will come in the opening rounds, as he's proved how destructive his fast starts can be. Herbie's main asset has always been his speed of both hand and foot. See how he closes down the gap to unleash his combinations, which are usually punishingly accurate. If Klitschko stands in front of him, Hyde has the lateral movement to find the angles to exploit any gaps. However, against true world-class opposition, Herbie struggled when Riddick Bowe took his best shots and didn't go down. Hyde's heart was called into question, whether or not he really wanted a war, as he seemed to give up in the face of Bowe's sheer size and power. Vitali Klitschko is even bigger than Bowe and will have considerable height, weight and reach advantages. He will try and use these assets to smother Hyde early on and sap the champion's strength. Klitschko must take Hyde's shots early on and fire back with his own, as he did to beat Julius Francis. When he gets his opponent in front of him, the challenger unleashes big, clubbing, heavy shots, which have given him his 24 wins inside the distance. This is a great matchup between two big punchers, but I think if Hyde has the right mental attitude, he could destroy Klitschko early.
Views of a couple of other former champions now, talking to Adam Smith.
Well, two big heavyweights with me and Frank Bruno and Gary Mason. How does a small heavyweight in Herbie Hyde tackle Vitali Klitschko tonight?
I think he's got the hand speed, the experience, the skill. As long as he can play it cool and keep away from his right hand, I think he should do a good number on him. He should look good against him, because Herbie Hyde's a very, very fast guy no matter what, and he's sort of like a little bit jumpy, and when he's jumpy, when he was fighting Michael Bent, he's very, very dangerous, you know.
Do you think he's mentally right, Frank?
Herbie Hyde is Herbie Hyde, you know what I mean? Sometimes you never know what day or what side of the bed he can wake up on, but you know, once he gets in there, I think, you know what I mean, he'll go to his natural ability, which is speed. He can punch and he's a good boxer.
Gary, we don't know much about Vitali Klitschko. He's a bit of a mystery, but 24 knockouts in 24 fights. Dangerous.
Yeah, very dangerous. That means that it's not a mystery. You know what he can actually do. Herbie's always screaming about he wants this fight and that fight. Here's a chance for him to impress, but he's been known to faint before, and this is a big guy. He might faint again, you know.
You think he will?
Well, he doesn't want to tonight because he wants to really impress, and he's fighting a guy like that. This is the chance for him to do it.
Frank, who wins?
I'm not a betting man, but I've got to go for Herbie, because the guy is good, but I don't think he's technical, skillful like Herbie and quick hands and that. Yeah. Every heavyweight you got to watch the big punches, but I'll stick with Herbie. You know what I mean? You've got to be shouting for him.
Thanks very much, guys. Thank you.
No problem, man. Wicked.
I must say that I haven't heard one professional say otherwise than at the end of the day you have to pick Hyde in this fight, Barry. Do you go along with the general opinion?
Well, I think the general opinion is that in the past, big white European style heavyweights have never achieved at professional level, and the worry is that this guy hasn't a tall upright
ex-amateur star,
ex-amateur style, hasn't really changed radically as a professional. Got a good right hand and has achieved a lot at the amateur level, but they've never been able to make the transition to the pro game. My feelings are it won't change tonight. He may be dangerous with that right hand, but I think that if he doesn't get out and get his hands up quickly, Hyde could take him out in the first 3-4 rounds.
Jim, the other big question mark against Klitschko, really no experience at this level.
No experience, that's a fact, but I worry more about Herbie. I think Herbie lives on his nerves, he boxes on his nerves, he burns up so much energy needlessly, and he sets off at a tremendous pace. His last couple of fights, okay, he's been fighting absolutely nothing at all, and it's worked for him. I wonder if Herbie starts at that crazy pace and the big fella goes back into amateur mould and just covers up. I mean, these Iron Curtain countries, they know how to defend.
The criticism of Hyde, leading on from what you've said there, Jim, the phrase is an on-top fighter, and that recently that trend has become more marked. That's to say, he loves it when he can boss what's going on in the ring.
That's exactly how I feel about him, and I wonder how, if the fight goes into the 5th and 6th round, and this big fella who has covered up in the early rounds comes back strong and powerful, how much Herbie likes the game. Sometimes I get the feeling that Herbie's a little bit of a bully. He fancies the job when he's on top, but when he's not on top, then he asks himself the questions, and I don't know if the right answers come out. I expect that, I know there's a great chance Herbie could win this fight quickly because he has the speed, he has the power. I think he'll shock this fella with his speed and power, but if he doesn't nail him early, then I start worrying on his stamina.
It would really be something, wouldn't it, to see a 6'2" man bullying a 6'8" man. And back home in Kiev, Vitali Klitschko's legions of supporters have filled the central square. The Ukrainian hero about to try to reflect some more glory on his home country here. He's based in Germany, but still very much a big name in the Ukraine. He and his brother have put the Ukrainian heavyweights on the boxing map, and this would be their finest achievement. They're all waiting with us live in Kiev to find out if Vitali Klitschko could do it here at the London Arena tonight. Hyde starts as a favourite then, but thank Sky and thank Hyde's promoters for making sure that this fight goes ahead, because Hyde time and again has failed to get in there and do it. Tonight he has to. No escape this time, and Herbie Hyde has his whole reputation on the line next.
That came at the last press conference. Is he properly fired up, or are those distress signals? Is he, as Barry McGuigan suggested earlier, frightened about the task in hand? Here's the tale of the tape for this fascinating fight, the biggest fight Herbie Hyde has had since his loss to Riddick Bowe, I would suggest. Same age, Klitschko actually is a bit older. Height, Klitschko, huge advantages in reach and height. Weight, Klitschko nearly 2 stone heavier. These are big disadvantages, but Hyde is so much quicker, and that might be important too. Hyde's been the pro now for 10 years. That is surprising. He's got a 93% knockout rate. Klitschko's on 100%. Hyde is mixed in slightly the better company, I would suggest, though. Only 55 rounds for the Ukrainians. It's a slender experience, really. Hyde has never gone beyond 10 rounds, and Klitschko has never gone beyond 6 rounds. Hyde is in his 6th world title fight tonight. It's the first for Klitschko. The bookmakers make Herbie Hyde the favourite for this fight. 5-2 on, with most bookmakers. 7-4 against you can get with Klitschko. I did see 5-2 with one firm this morning. The draw is 50-1.
Ladies and gentlemen, this contest is sanctioned and conducted under the rules of the World Boxing Organization, and the officials appointed by the body are as follows. The supervisor in charge this evening, their president, Mr. Francesco Valcasel. The supervisor and representative for the British Boxing Board of Control, their president, Mr. Leonard Nipperine, QPM. The timekeeper this evening, Mr. Bob Edgeworth from Bromley in Kent, and the judges at ringside, Mr. Ruel Kayez from California, Mr. Harold Lederman from Orangeburg in New York State, and Mr. John Stewart from New Jersey in the USA. And the man in charge of the action this evening, our referee, officiating in his 40th world title contest from Chicago, Mr. Gino Rodriguez. My lords, ladies and gentlemen, on Sky Sports across Britain and around Europe, from the London Arena in East London, Docklands, it's big fight time! For the WBO Heavyweight Championship of the world, over 12 3-minute rounds, and introducing the boxers. And firstly, fighting out of the red corner, he's formerly from former undefeated British and current WBO heavyweight champion of the world, making the third defense of his title tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, England's pride, Herbie Hyde. The referee, Mr. Gino Rodriguez, will now give instructions to both boxers.
Gentlemen, remember your instructions. I want you to obey my command at all times. Protect yourself at all times. And good luck.
12 3-minute rounds for the WBO Heavyweight Championship of the world.
And this is not a good time to go and make the tea, because Hyde has won 20 times inside the first 3 rounds, and so has Klitschko. Big punches, both of them. It might be quick. It might be explosive as well. Hyde, who's boxed so rarely in recent years. Not enough. He's been overtaken by other pretenders for the big league. Klitschko, his first really big test, although he has held the European title in the past. What tactics will Hyde employ? And you can see with the two of them together there the massive difference in size. But Hyde is very quick. Did beat a big man in Tony Tucker in 2 rounds, a very old 39-year-old Tony Tucker. But when he fought Riddick Bowe and was giving away about 2 stone, he was knocked all around the ring eventually and was on the floor 7 times. So what happens?
Well, the difficulty here for Hyde is to get in close. This is very big man, very tall, long arms. So Hyde's got to use that speed to get close to him, to get inside and let loose the fast combinations.
Klitschko with massive support, both in Germany and his native Ukraine. Is this his breakthrough night? Or does Hyde project himself forward and inspire talk of a showdown maybe with Lennox Lewis sometime next year? Expect Hyde to try to dart in and out, use his speed, get off fast combinations and then get away again. That should be the strategy, you would think. Not stand in front of Klitschko to let him unload that big right hand we've heard so much about.
Hyde's a fighter that needs that belief and that confidence in himself. He likes to be on top. He's what they call a front foot fighter. And really, Klitschko's got to try and exert some pressure to him early.
The other thing we don't know about is Klitschko's chin. He's never really been asked too many serious questions before now. And Hyde has underrated power. With his 31 wins, 30 have come early. Even though he's a heavyweight of about Tyson Holyfield type stature. Fast hands there. And he was away again before Klitschko could find an answer. He can be a bewildering man to fight Hyde when he's back in form as he was the night he first won this title in East London against Michael Bent down at Millwall. That was an electrifying display from him.
Well, Hyde's trying to lunge in and get those punches off, just falling short as yet, but that's an awful long way he has to get.
Klitschko lands for the first time significantly with the left hand. Just made Hyde give ground for a space or two. I wonder how Hyde can cope with Klitschko's power. He's hit by this big man. They do look like fighters from different weight divisions.
A lot of missed punches here. They're both falling short, very even round.
London Arena for this fascinating WBO heavyweight title fight. Action from round 1, Herbie Hyde and Vitali Iron Fist Klitschko, as they call him.
Well, neither one really connecting, just falling short. Obviously there's a lot of nerves in there from both of them. Hyde been very inactive. He needs to settle and get into this fight.
Hyde in the white trunks, and just to show you how inactive he's been, he's fought only 5 rounds during the entire duration of Klitschko's career.
And really, it doesn't matter how much sparring you get, it's no substitute for actual fighting.
Hyde
Hyde has the reputation of being vicious with his sparring partners. He almost bullies them. But that's his way of preparing, his way of boosting his confidence. He's very hard on them. Now Klitschko gets him with the right hand, and he's got Hyde down in the second round. First time he landed with it, that chopping right, and this could be problems for Herbie Hyde. First time he felt the power, and he's down. Oh dear. What happens if Klitschko can find another one of those? It's early in the round too.
How's Hyde going to react now, Ian? What's going to be going through his mind? He knows he can be hurt with that right hand.
Well, I was waiting for that to happen and waiting to see how Herbie would cope with it. It wasn't a bad knockdown. He wasn't really badly dazed. But he was on the floor, and that may do plenty to erode his confidence. Klitschko's looking for another one and finds it. Oh dear, and this time it is. Look at his eyes. This could be over in the second round. I'm not sure Herbie Hyde is going to make this. Oh, he's all over the place. It is stopped in round two. Vitali Klitschko wins the WBO heavyweight title, and Herbie Hyde's world falls apart.
I'm sure Kiev has just erupted with noise. He'll be a hero there tonight.
He just had too much power. Now, I did all week have thoughts about what had happened in the Riddick-Bowe fight when he was giving away a similar amount of weight, and remembering how Bowe kept putting him on the canvas 7 times, and he just can't give away that kind of weight.
So that's always the crunch. It's a good big man, a good small one. It always goes. The big one will get through. We didn't know how good Klitschko was. We know now. We certainly know he has a big power in that right hand.
Well, he really is a big, lethal hitter, this man Mountain. Whack! There were 2 of them. The second one poleaxed him.
Yes, that did all the damage. Big right hands. They said that was the punch that you had to watch. He was very solid with that. Hurt Hyde. Desperately there.
And Klitschko becomes the first East European to hold any version of the world heavyweight title. It may be the less regarded WBO version, but try telling that to all those people in the city square in Kiev tonight. 250,000 of them.
Well, that's the final shot. It just seemed to glance by the chin, but he was never gonna recover from that punch.
The first knockdown he got up from okay. The second one, you could just see his eyes swimming, and you knew there was no way back. Well, Herbie Hyde's pretensions to get into the same ring as the Holyfields and Lewises have been blown apart here by this Ukrainian. Iron fist indeed, Glenn.
Well, he certainly is, and that's going to make a big impact on the heavyweight world.
Well, they're suddenly going to be talking about Klitschko and Hyde. What does he do now? Does he go away and rebuild? I think the fact is, there's always been the suspicion that he's just a bit too small to mix with the really top guys, the big guys in the division, and I think that's been kind of underlined tonight. For all his speed and talent, it was the size and strength of Klitschko that was just too much of him, and you wonder what happens to Herbie Hyde now.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 1 minute 14 seconds of round 2, Herbie Hyde fails to beat the referee's count of 10. The winner by count out and new WBO heavyweight champion of the world, Vitali Klitschko.
And that means that he's now won 5 in the first round, 14 in the second, 2 in the third. 25 and 0.
Ladies and gentlemen, your appreciations, please.
And I wonder what the Americans will make of that as well.
Well, it's got to be exciting, surely, for the world picture that we have a marketable Eastern European who, on that evidence, looks to have what it takes to at least be put into the frame at world level. WBO World Heavyweight title changes hands, and Herbie Hyde makes a quick exit out of the ring, with his hopes really in quick time by this 6'8" Ukrainian Vitali Klitschko, who trails the spoils of his victory around the ring, and big support for him, not just in Kiev, not just in Germany, but even here in the arena tonight. Hyde's fans, such as they were here tonight, have already made their way out, so disappointed by Hyde's performance. Much reaction to come after this short break, and we'll feature another young heavyweight in a moment or two. Pele Reid making a return to action tonight here after his first professional defeat, and could he regroup at this level? That's next. The new WBO World Heavyweight Champion, greeted by the Ukrainian support that has made the journey here to London, and no doubt back in his home city of Kiev, huge enthusiasm for a triumph for Klitschko, the emergent Ukrainian boxing force. Little by little they've been making their mark in amateur and professional boxing. Massive step forward for them, and a shattering blow for Herbie Hyde, Britain's champion going into this tonight, back in action, so much expected of him, and Hyde's world has been torn up in front of him in only 2 rounds here. Hyde made a quick exit, as we showed you before the break. We'll try and get a word with him later. In the meantime, here's Frank Warren with Ian Dark.
Frank, your views on what happened in there just now?
My views, I'm very disappointed. I'm sure Herbie Hyde is. Klitschko's a good puncher, and he caught him with good shots and stopped him. And fight couldn't go on, as simple as that.
How good is Klitschko, do you think? I mean, he obviously can bang. They don't call him Iron Fist for nothing, quite clearly.
He's 24-0. Is it 25-0 now? I mean, he's a good puncher. There's no doubt about it. Anybody he hits, he's going to knock out. Whether he can take a shot, we don't know yet. But certainly up to now, he's done everything that's asked him. I thought Herbie fought the wrong fight. He was headhunting the guy. He should have been trying to work the body. Didn't do that, and looked very sloppy and paid the price.
Herbie Hyde's been telling anyone who'd listened for a couple of years now that he should be in with Lennox Lewis and Holyfield, that he was the real champion, but it was all rather exposed, in all honesty, wasn't it, there?
Well, he just got caught. Big guys, when they're throwing big shots, if somebody gets caught with it, they go. It's as simple as that. That's what happens with heavyweights. Unfortunately, Herbie got caught, and that was it.
Is that the end for him, do you think?
I don't know. We'll sit back, see what happens with him. But Klitschko, you got it at the moment. He's got to be the man at the moment. He's definitely, as I say, he can definitely punch, no doubt about that. And I think he'll give a lot of people a lot of problems, because obviously he's going to grow from this fight, get a lot of confidence from it, and I'm sure he'll go on to bigger and better things.
Okay, thanks a lot, Frank. Thank you.
Jim Watt, Frank Warren says Hyde was sloppy and therefore contributed to his own swift downfall there. Do you see it like that?
He said the box with the wrong tactics, but I don't even think he got started. I think he was shocked as we were at the speed and reflexes of the big Ukrainian. He was so quick. I worried for Hyde about the amateur experience that Klitschko had. I knew, he's going to be difficult to catch with punches, and that's how it turned out. He didn't make one mistake in the 1.5 rounds that the fight lasted. He didn't let Herbie into the fight, and a couple of times he landed the right hand. Herbie just couldn't cope with it. Very powerful puncher, and the genuine article.
Genuine article, Barry, a new force from the East.
Well,
like that movie, what do they call it?
The beast from the East, he certainly was that. I underestimated him as much as Herbie did. He was a real revelation. He was huge. He was so vast in comparison. It was amazing to see the difference in the ring. I never realised it would be that much of a discrepancy. But he was very good in height. But not just that, he was fast and alert. And Hyde wasn't able to hit him. He was quick. He was able to pull back and get back in again. And that right hand that started it all off in the second round was magnificent. And it wasn't even a full-blooded shot. It was enough to put him over. But look at the accuracy there for a big guy, and look at the way he's already on his way back. And again, that was a stifled punch. It wasn't really a full-blooded right hand, but it was enough to stun Hyde, and Hyde never got over that. And it was 45 seconds into round 2. He got loads of time to do it again, but you have another look at it there, Jim. he just turned his shoulder over this time, just swept it over.
Very controlled, that's what surprised me. Well, when I think of a boxer 6'8", I think he's too big to fight, he's too big to have any decent coordination, but I'm surprised. I mean, the guy was always in control, and the way he controlled the range, Hyde couldn't get near him to be effective in any department. He couldn't reach the body, couldn't reach the chin, and the big fella was just so controlled and so happy in there.
And this is the final knockdown here, and it looks like very much like that the left jab done the work. The right hand seemed to miss him, but the left hand stunned him right to his toes.
But no question, he was stunned. I mean, you can see the reaction here. I mean, his leg has gone stiff. I mean, that's a tremendous punch. It looked to me also like the jab actually did the damage. Tremendous puncher.
Barry was surprised by Klitschko. Were you, Jim?
I was surprised he did it so quickly. I thought what happened might have happened later on. I thought maybe Herbie would have run out of steam, but you know, just for the sheer nervousness of the way he boxes, burn out too much steam, then start to drag a little bit, and the big fella would take over. I didn't think it would happen in the second round.
Sorry, Barry. Adam Smith with Gary Mason.
Well, Gary, Herbie Hyde's world is in tatters. Should we have seen the warning signs, though, looking back to the Riddick-Bowe fight when he just couldn't take the power of a bigger man?
Maybe Herbie thought that his speed and his opponent's inexperience would have served him well, but the opponent he caught, the German caught him the very first punch he caught him with in the first round. You knew then that Herbie could not take his power, and the German has proven that he has the real muscle to be able to do it. But it'd be interesting to watch him now to see how his mental attitude fares up when he faces bigger and stronger heavyweights who can take it. But at the moment, he's looking very, very impressive, extremely impressive.
Do you think it was also a mental problem with Hyde tonight?
Yes, it would have been a mental problem because the last time he faced somebody that size, he was overpowered. And the German, I must say, he was very, very impressive. I must say, very, very impressive. And Herbie would have been impressed by him. And after he got the first shot, he'd have been really impressed, you know.
Thanks a lot, Gary.